Where do we go from here? That is a huge question, and if you actually know the answer to it, you should immediately go out and buy a securities firm.
You've had the destruction of the U.S. financial industry. People don't want to say it, but it's been destroyed.
One of the curious things about Wall Street is there is a real herd mentality. So when things started to go wrong, everyone was in with both hands. And this was one of the reasons why the calamity was so severe, because everyone had the same bets going at the same time.
Disappointed in that we've come to believe all these things about the institutions in our country that's supposed to give you this sense of well-being or confidence, but the financial system has failed us. The governmental system that is supposed to regulate, oversee direct this financial system utterly failed us. We as individuals took as much money as we could, as fast as we could, in a way that's failed the country.
The flat screen TVs and the 2 homes and the 2 cars, we all thought we could participate in that. And probably over a few months, what'll settle in is something closer to a Depression-era cash-based mentality, where really what you have is what you can afford with your own money, not with credit.
For too many years, people borrowed too much, spent too much, lived beyond their means, and the time of reckoning has come to all of us.
I think we've been living in a sort of consumer debt-driven era for quite a long time.
When financing isn't available, consumers and businesses shrink their spending, which leads to businesses cutting jobs and even closing up shop.
I think a lot of the people who did the right thing and said, I can't afford to take on all this debt, are now very angry, because what they're seeing is that their next door neighbor who did take on the debt is now going to get a government bailout.
You know, Sheila Bair, the head of the FDIC, says, you know, shared sacrifice. Some people are going to be helped and others aren't, but at this moment, if you don't help Guy A, Guy B isn't going to be in any great shakes either, because the economy is going to be weak. I mean, it's remarkable when you're talking about $700 billion. I feel like we're living through a New Deal era, clearly. I mean, it's been however long, 70 years since the government was taking action like this.
Congress passed a $700 billion bill aimed at trying to solve the financial crisis, but some say the amount of money committed to solving the crisis is far, far more.
Bear Stearns was sort of the marijuana, the entry level. Then to a lot of people, the auto industry is sort of like the crack, right? It is the drug from which there is no going back. That said, the government has been so incredibly generous in handing out money to various industries, to the entire financial industry. It's incredibly hard to justify not giving the auto industry $25 billion. They just gave Citigroup $400 billion.
I mean, they've been throwing money at the problem, trying to create a workable system. I think it's confusing to the market, because you have one day the U.S. government is going to buy assets with its TARP program, is going to buy the so-called toxic mortgages, then it's not, then it is again. There is a lack of certainty, and of course markets like certainty.
The financial crisis certainly is the worst financial situation the U.S. has found itself in since the Great Depression. There was a period in September and early October of 2008 where a lot of professionals felt the center might not hold, that the system itself was on the precipice of collapse. But it did back away from that precipice and has been slowly trying to heal itself. There's no question that the damage is great. The only question is, how long will it take for the system to recover?
My gut feel, nothing more than that, because nobody knows. That's the beauty. The beauty about the beauty about Wall Street.
You made a bet. You were wrong.
I made a lot of bets that I've been wrong about.
Do you have an idea?
I have no idea.
People are saying the third quarter of next year.
Oh, it's gonna end August 31st, 2009.
Stop.
Guaranteed.
There's a line from King Lear where, kind of in the middle of this huge Shakespearean tragedy, one of the characters says, "The worst is not, so long as we can still say this is the worst."
And we can sit here and talk about what happened, what we think is going to happen, but reality is, my working theory is no one knows anything. We're all just sort of grappling in the dark. Only 10 years, this will be a great document in 20 years. It's only in 10 years will we know what we're really going through.
Yeah, I mean, so it's, so the patient has been in the emergency room in seizures, and we're trying to get the patient to stop seizing. But then after that happens, when the patient is prepared to stand and walk again, you have to rehabilitate the patient. We're not anywhere near that. The patient is barely conscious.